It's been really awesome having Linkin Park dropping all these new music videos. We're going to be reacting to More the Victim. Coming at you.
I've listened endlessly to your injury. You wanna talk about your sores, you wanna talk about suffering. Maybe sympathy is all you're really hungry for. Cause you just criticize, you finger point, and you say that they beat you down. You may be victimized, you're still the one who won't just get up off the ground. I used to be as innocent as you. My excuses ran out of things to complain about. Fear will always find a way to show.
Okay. This is the Linkin Park.
This is the Linkin Park I know.
Yes.
So we just got done reacting to... Whoa, what even was the name of that song?
I don't remember.
We don't even remember.
A different one.
This song is like... This is what we were talking about in that music video, though, where you have Mike Shinoda with hard-hitting lyrics that are just brought to you very... very vocally strong.
Right,
you
clear.
can make out the words very well, and then you have very powerful, almost half screaming vocals from Chester to just bring the message home.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's that is what I expect in Linkin Park.
Yeah.
This is an awesome song. This is going on a playlist.
This is great. No, and this reminds me of Hybrid Theory. This actually feels more...
Ooh, yeah, it does.
This feels older. This
Yes, it
feels
does.
like it belongs right in their Hybrid Theory album. So far, anyway. This is Linkin Park. I just turned on Linkin Park right now. This isn't like new experimental Linkin Park. This is straight up like...
The last video, we're both like, man, we just didn't have much energy.
It's
this one, it hits us. We're like, oh, yes.
You see I'm like smiling now.
This
I'm like,
is so much
they're
better.
like playing Chester comes in. I was like, yes, yes.
All right, so the message of the song, I also really enjoy, and I think this is a song that I will continue to listen to whenever I need to like motivate myself. Like, there are times when you're working towards a goal, when you like stop, you get slowed down. Usually you start blaming other things, and this song's like, no, stop making excuses. You're not the victim here. Stop pretending that you are, and do the job. Do what you got to get done. And it's like, oh, I need that sometimes. I'm adding this to a playlist so I can hear that when I need.
Yeah, turn it back on, man.
Here we go.
Turn it back on.
You wanna talk constantly about misery and how you've been done so wrong. You wanna bend your honesty and exaggerate the distress that you've undergone. There's never a compromise. No one can say that they've ever been hurt before. They may be victimized, but you'll always say that you're a victim so much more. I used to be as innocent as you. My excuses ran out of things to complain about. Fear will always find a way to show.
So, I love this song. I'm like really happy.
It's so fun.
I just feel like, yeah, this is more Linkin Park. You know, this is awesome. You know, it's not like analyzing like, oh, how is this different? And it's just like, I want to sit back. I want to just listen to this. And this is reminiscent too. So like in Hybrid Theory and Meteora, a lot of their songs are like, they sound like they're targeted at like a parent or something, right?
Yeah.
And saying like, basically like, you were a bad parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this song, I think, could be taken and was probably even written in that way. But I like your interpretation of like redirecting that to yourself and being like, look, your excuses are all out. Like, you're just playing the victim. Quit playing the victim and get to it.
Well,
you know, and so it's, I mean, it's either way. It's like whether you're relating to it as like a, yeah, like abusive parent or whatever, or you turn it to yourself and be like, well, get to it, man.
Well, and I've even got
cool.
a third interpretation, and that has to do with how a lot of society nowadays is trying to play up their victimization, right? And they're actively like in this song shouting at someone, you're playing the victim, you're acting like you're more a victim than me. Do you know how innocent you are? Do you know how well you've been treated? And yet you act like you're the victim of all these wrongs. And it's like, there is a lot of benefit in society right now for people to act like they are the victim of something outside themselves.
Yeah.
Or something that they can't control within themselves. You get a whole lot of social clout for doing that.
It's like, you're so cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if this song had been recorded nowadays and wouldn't be afforded the like forgiveness of not being recorded in modern times. I don't know if it would be received positively. I don't even know if it's being received positively right
Like,
now.
hey, who you calling the victim?
Yeah, and it's but there's kind of three ways you can take it. You can take it as a way to motivate yourself to not be the victim and to go make something of yourself. You can interpret it as like the most direct one, which is them seeing someone who's acting like a victim and saying, you stop acting like a victim. And you can also take it as like a society at large is trying to act like a victim right now, and maybe we want to minimize that or make that not the case so that we can start accomplishing things well again, you know? So,
I dig that. I like that a lot. No,
this is a cool song.
It's
with a
like
good message
definitely.
right
I like when you can take it and turn it into yourself and be like, what does this do for me? What does
Yeah.
this do for us?
now. Yeah.
I'm digging this.
This is a great song.
Yeah.
You wanna be just another someone, somebody angry, somebody broken. You wanna be that, then be it all alone.
Oh, dude, that was
a slap in
oh
the
my
face
god,
line.
bam! Like, you want to just be another someone, just a broken and
You want to be a broken
angry,
victim? Go do it by
Yeah, go
yourself!
do it by yourself, man.
Wow! That was like...
That was awesome.
That's even hard to call tough love. That's just like, look, I'm here with you if you're not going to do this to me.
Yeah.
But if you're going to act like you're the victim, go do it by your dang
Go-
self. I don't want to be
Go
part
do
of
that
this.
in your room.
Oh, man.
Go cry in your room, man.
Woof. Chester, that was a harsh line.
That was
I love
good.
it.
That was so good. We're both like, whoa, dude. That was awesome.
You want to be more hurt than me. You want to say you're more the victim. You wanna complain and pass the blame. You want to say you're more the victim. You want to be more hurt than me. You want to say you're more the victim. You wanna complain and pass the blame. Pass the blame. Pass the blame.
Oh, dude, and the finish? It's just like,
Okay.
all right, so go ahead.
I was going to say, I have so much I can talk about with this song, but I want to talk about, first off, after talking about the slamming hard lyrics, the drum line had something that I absolutely love in drum lines. And I've talked about this with baby metal, where it's really hard to make out the beat if you're just listening to the drum line. It's something you have to kind of work for. You naturally kind of bounce to it. You know it's there, but you have to work for it because the drum line is not basic. It takes a lot of work to make something that intricate that still has a notable beat to it. I love that in a song. It's wonderful. I love that the guitar lines were strong and forceful. They almost felt like a lecture in just like the feeling and emotion that it was expressing was like a lecture, like you have Chester lecturing at you. It was so beautifully put together. I loved this song. Everything about it was just, I want to listen to it again. I think I might.
Who doesn't want Chester to lecture at them? I mean, that's just like, just, all right, bucket list right there. So I want to talk about this theme a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, because in this song, right, it's basically like, stop being the victim, like, stop complaining. If you're going to do that, go do it in your room, you know,
Yes,
by yourself.
yes.
Like, I don't want to be part of that. You're trying to be more hurt than me. You're trying to make yourself more the victim. But here's the thing. People do this. I do this. You do this. You do this.
We all do this.
Okay? We ought not to do this. But this is like a reminder for that, right? But we do this. And it comes from somewhere. It's not just like, he's just a little whiny little punk, you know? It comes from somewhere. There is, like, a feeling of, what would you call that? Like, almost like you're seeking pity, like you're seeking to be cared for, you know? And a lot of times I think that these types of things come out when we feel like we're not having our needs met, when we feel uncared for to a certain degree. Now, some of this is just behavioral. Some of it is like, look, you just practice whining so much and you don't know how to take personal responsibility, and you need to just like acknowledge that and work on it. That's part of that, right?
Yeah.
But part of it also comes from not caring for ourselves, right? And so we're like, well, I'm not caring for me, so like I need someone else to care for me, and someone else will care for me if they see me as the hurt kid.
Yeah.
If they see me as the traumatized one or the victim, right? Like maybe somebody will care for me. And the thing is, I think that, like I said, that comes from not caring for ourselves. And so sometimes if we're struggling with taking responsibility for things, which I think everybody does to some degree,
Yeah.
one thing that is often neglected is looking at how we're caring for ourselves, not how we're like forcing ourselves to do the things we think we ought to, but how we're like making sure our needs are met, how we're like being compassionate to ourselves, being forgiving of our mistakes. Because a lot of times we want to push out that stuff on someone else, or we want to get the love or compassion or the forgiveness from somebody else, and we do that by putting ourselves in a position of need, right? It's
Yeah.
just like if you see a kid fall off a slide or something, you're like, oh, kid, I'm like, get up, kid, like, brush yourself off, quit crying, but like,
Rub some dirt in it.
but we know that that's a thing, right? You see like a hurt puppy, like who doesn't rush off to a hurt puppy?
Yeah.
And so we think, well, I want that. I want somebody to care for me. I want somebody to pet me and feed me and love me and hug me. And sometimes we just need that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And as we can acknowledge that, acknowledge our needs, and also acknowledge just our behavioral needs that we have, in just like acknowledging the thing to do and do it, but combined together, that's a great way to be able to not be the victim.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's a message that I think everyone can benefit from. Is like the term self-care. I feel like has been
It's watered down and
Yes,
and
it's-
murdered, like tattered. you know?
yes, to where you've got the kind of yoga crowd saying, all right, we're just gonna go. We do yoga. It's for self-care, right? And
Or go take a bath or something.
Yes, and what people don't appreciate is that there is some level where that's absolutely needed.
Yeah.
And
I like a bath.
the side
yeah.
the other side, what they don't appreciate is, well, you got to take the other balance of get out and do the job too. And it's like it's somewhere in the middle. And if you're too much to the I'm not going to take care of myself side, you're going to end up feeling like the victim. It's going to lash out in bad ways.
Yeah.
If you take too much care of yourself, so to speak, you're going to be upset when someone else isn't taking care of you enough to what you feel you should be taken care of, and you're going to lash out as the victim. It's somewhere in the middle. You have to find that.
So, and I would even say that it's actually a different dimension.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily, I think that scale is important.
Okay.
I think what you're saying is appropriate.
I'm okay to a different
So
method of looking at this.
I do think that that's appropriate, and finding that balance is part of it, but you also have to look at it on
Almost
a
like
different
a compass, not
Yeah, well,
timeline, but compass.
a different plane, as
Okay.
it were. Because, like I was saying, I think that it stems often not just from the behavioral aspect, but from what we're recognizing in our thoughts and in our beliefs.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's a lot of times people will do their self-care on only a behavioral spectrum, right? Like they'll like, well, I'm doing my yoga, I'm taking baths, I'm getting massages, but life's still just so hard, and I'm just still so unhappy, and people are just still so mean to me. And the problem is that they're not introspecting, and they're not understanding. Even if they're introspecting what they might think, there's sometimes things beyond what we see just ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it helps to have a friend or a therapist or an epiphany to just like show us what we're missing. But it's recognizing those things in ourselves, which is often something like, the behavior comes, but when we lead with the behavior, it's almost like leading with a carcass. Like you need the life in the creature to give it substance. Do you know what I mean?
It's a shell of the reality of the self-care.
Exactly. And
That
so
makes sense.
when you're finding what it is inside yourself that's missing, whether it's some kind of compassion or forgiveness or belief about yourself, or maybe there's these unreasonable expectations that you placed on yourselves, and this belief that you have about that, seeing that for what it is, and then choosing an appropriate behavior, which might be a bath, or it might be get your butt to work.
Yeah.
Right? And then that one becomes much more clear as to where you should fall. And then it's less of a like going back and forth
Instead of
between
like
them.
trying to find somewhere in the middle, what you're doing is you're introspecting to find which path you need to take.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that analogy more.
Yeah. So I love this song. This is one of my favorite ones that came out, I think.
Yeah, this one's
I just
really-
right out of the gate, very Linkin Park, very just Linkin Park, man. If you know Linkin Park, you know what I'm talking about, you know. And that's what this was, and I loved it. We did this other reaction that you guys will like. Check that one out and subscribe if you haven't, because then you get to watch more. All right, so listening to that part where he says like, then be it all alone, right? Like
Yes.
you want to be just a somebody, you want to be angry, you want to be the victim, well, be it all alone. And we've been talking about that behind the scenes. We stopped the video and everything, and I was like, well, let's
we
turn it back
listened
on
to
and talk
just
about
that
this.
part again. Yeah.
That was the part that was like, whoa, dude. I was thinking about it. One way to take that, of course, like we were talking, is like, if you're going to do that, go away. I don't need that in my life, right? That's
Yeah.
one way to take that.
Yeah.
But another way to take that I took it, I had it a little bit from the beginning, but we ended up talking about so many things. But then I got it again here, is like, if that's the path that you're going to do, the natural consequence of that is that you're going to be alone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Very
Right?
interesting take. The way I heard it that time that was a little different than the way I heard it the first time is, I want way more than that for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here with you and not accept that for myself because I'm going to sit here with you being a victim.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of instead of like it's a natural consequence that you'll fall away, it's kind of almost explaining to them, the natural consequence of you acting like this is me drifting from you and doing something better. You can stay here. I'm not going to. So you can come with me if you want, or you can keep complaining, but I'm gone.
Right. And taking it this other way, like, is relevant to me, especially as we're talking about this being a self-talk and not like, hey, quit being a victim around me, right?
Yeah.
This being a self-talk, like, all right, don't be the victim, because if you do, like, you're going to be all alone. You're not going to get where you want to be. You're not going to be around the people who want to be around you or who you want to be around. You're just going to be alone. And that's
if you hear that as a self-attack.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, this is where you're going to be. This is the result. The result is you're lonely, you get nowhere, and you're a sad, broken puppy on the road, because you're not really a sad, broken puppy on the road,
Yeah.
you know? But that's what you're going to make yourself into, and that's all it's going to be for you. And so it's interesting to, like,
Lecturing the self.
take these
as
from
opposed
different
to
angles.
lecturing another person. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. Everyone's been in those moments where you're like telling yourself to do something, right? And it's because your psyche is not as coherent as we all like to pretend that it is, right? There are
Yes.
so many selves running around
Right.
in each person's mind. And if one of those selves is the broken complaining you,
Yeah.
this is the song that tells it to put itself together. Get with the program so the rest of me can do what the rest of me wants to do.
Yeah. This is an awesome song.
This is a cool song. I thoroughly enjoy it. And that line is just so in your
Yeah,
face.
it is. It's cool.
Wow. Yeah. So we had to turn the recording back on because it's that cool.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. We'll see you.